Hey, what's up, guys? Remaster Flex here. And 2 days ago, I was watching WWE SmackDown Live, and the show opened with WWE Champion Dean Ambrose cutting a promo against the man he will face at SummerSlam, Dolph Ziggler. You know, after watching these two guys trade blows against one another, I couldn't help but make a video of Dolph Ziggler needing a heel turn. That Dolph Ziggler needs to turn heel. Because, you know, when I looked at this, this thing with Dean Ambrose and Dolph Ziggler going back and forth, you could pretty much see that Dean Ambrose was trying to get under Dolph Ziggler's skin. And Dolph Ziggler was just, sitting back. And he did have some trading words back, but it took a lot for Dolph Ziggler to actually go off, for Dolph Ziggler to actually start saying things. And after saying that, Dolph Ziggler at this point, he needs a heel turn. And this will be the perfect time for him to do it. I mean, how many times have we seen Dolph Ziggler be underutilized ever since he turned babyface? Some wrestlers are better at being a heel than they are at being a babyface. Some wrestlers portray better being a heel than they can be as a babyface. And then there are some wrestlers who, no matter if they're babyface or heel, the crowd, they're going to get over with the crowd either way. Like Stone Cold Steve Austin, when he was wrestling, he could be a heel or babyface. No matter which way he went, the crowd would get over with him either way. The Undertaker could be a heel or babyface, and no matter which way he went, he was still going to get over with the crowd. But not every wrestler is like that. Some wrestlers, they're just one or the other. They either portrayed it as a babyface or they either portrayed it as a heel. And Dolph Ziggler has proven in the past that he works more better as a heel than he does as a babyface. I mean, let's think about all those times that Dolph Ziggler actually had success. First and foremost, the biggest push that Dolph Ziggler was actually getting during the time that he was a heel, was the fact that in 2011, he was the sole survivor at Survivor Series, and he beat Orton clean. He super kicked Orton out of nowhere and pinned him clean. And not only that, but in 2011, he defeated Kofi Kingston in capital punishment, and he held that title all the way up until TLC that year, until he lost it to Zack Ryder. And during the time that he was champion, he had some great matches. Also, he won the 2012 Money in the Bank during the time that he was a heel. And, a lot of people say that, some people would say that Dolph Ziggler babyface turn came the night after WrestleMania when he cashed in that Money in the Bank that he won in 2012 against Alberto Del Rio, after Alberto Del Rio had just defended his title against Jack Swagger. However, that is not actually, that's not exactly true. He was still a heel at this time that he cashed in his Money in the Bank. The only reason why it may have seemed like he turned babyface was because of how loud the crowd was, how popped the crowd was. But this is how the crowd always is the night after WrestleMania. They're always like this. So he was technically still a heel. His babyface turn did not come until after Money in the Bank. Because first of all, when he won the World Heavyweight title, he would go on to get a concussion not long after. And then his first title defense, which this really blew me, at Payback, he lost the title to Alberto Del Rio. That made me mad, because I'm like, he did all this, waited this long to cash in his Money in the Bank his Money in the Bank contract just for him to lose the title on his first title defense. Are you serious? You couldn't even let him keep the title for a couple of months. He basically lost the title about 2 months after he won it. He didn't even get to defend his title. He didn't even get to retain his title, is what I'm trying to say. Because his first title defense, because he was gone after that, he was gone a little while after he won the title, because he eventually got a concussion, so he wasn't able to compete at Extreme Rules. So because he wasn't able to compete, they had the real face Jack Swagger again. But by Payback, he was able to compete, and of course, the way how they had that match, there was basically like a double turn going on. And so he was showing tactics already of him being a babyface during the time he was rivaling Roberto Del Rio. He was showing tactics, but what really got him into being a babyface was when he dumped AJ Lee, when she cost him the title at Money in the Bank. So after that got him into being a babyface, and he would eventually, and then he would go on to SummerSlam, a team with Caitlyn, to face AJ Lee and Biggie. At the time, of course, he was known as Biggie Langston. But you gotta rein and think of the question of this. Since that time that he's been a babyface, what has he really done? In fact, if you look at the history of it, immediately after this, what happened? Now, the Champions came around, and he went against Dean Ambrose for the United States title, and he lost. In fact, Dolph Ziggler, last time he was even champion was in 2014. He was the IC champion, as he kept trading back and forth with The Miz that year. And then after that, they really didn't have much to do with him, because in 2014, at SummerSlam, he beat The Miz for the Intercontinental title. And then The Miz would beat him at Night of Champions for it. And then that's when, night after Night of Champions, Dolph Ziggler won the title right back. And he would hold on to the title up until November. And then he lost it to Luke Harper, which was completely pointless, because literally a month after he lost it to Luke Harper, he won it right back at TLC in a ladder match against Luke Harper. So he was having a constant trade and blow with the IC title up until he lost it last year around February to Wade Barrett. And once that happened, he has not been champion since. So you start to wonder, how much longer can he go? How much longer can he go as being a babyface? And it's really time now to change his style. It's really time now for him to, really be the show off, really be what his name represents. And he can show off more as a heel than he can as a babyface. He really can. He's proven it plenty of times in the past. I mean, just look at the success he had as a heel compared to the success that he's had as a babyface. Now, sure, he's been IC champion twice in the same year with the same person. He's been IC champion actually about 3 times, actually, if you add the fact he beat Luke Harper the next month after Luke Harper beat him. But it's like, when 2015 started, they put him even further down the journey. Because last year, first and foremost, they decided, I don't know why Vince McMahon decided to do this. They decided to put him in this angle with Rusev because supposedly he had dumped Lana. So they tried to do this storyline where Lana was dating Dolph Ziggler and Rusev was with Summer Rae, and they tried to have these two guys go back and forth at it, and it really didn't work. It really died. It was not working. The crowd wasn't getting into it. They have been misutilizing Dolph Ziggler for a long time now, and that was one of the biggest reasons for his downfall was this feud right here. They did this feud last summer to no avail. They did this for nothing because when they had the match at SummerSlam, they both got counted out, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, they both got counted out. Then the next pay-per-view, Dolph Ziggler won, but it was like we were getting tired of seeing it because it was the same old stuff. And then they had to stop the feud because in real life, Lana and Rusev was getting married. And now they are married, but at the time they were getting married. So Vince McMahon was furious of this, so they had to stop the whole entire thing. And thank God they did, because they continued it. People probably would have really went off of saying it because it was really getting ridiculous. So if you just really look at how Dolph Ziggler's been used lately, and you look at how the WWE has used his character, so to speak, it gives a lot of reason for him to be a heel at this point, because he hasn't really had that much success being a babyface. Now, like I said, you can look at this in two ways. Okay, 2014 was the last time that he was actually a champion. Now, he did lose the title early last year, the IC title that he had. However, that was the same year that he was the sole survivor when Team Authority faced Team Cena. And at the time, it was huge. And of course, this was the match of the year for 2014. It was huge at the time because Team Cena had vowed to get rid of Team Authority. And Dolph Ziggler was the sole survivor. And he helped his team get rid of Team Authority. But that doesn't matter. And why does it? Why doesn't it matter? Even though it may have seemed like a career highlight moment, even though it may have seemed like that was going to boost Dolph Ziggler, the reason why that quickly went down the drain is because they did all that hype, all that storyline, all of that stuff where they really tried to have it in our minds where Team Authority were gone, where the Authority angle was gone for good, just to bring them back just over a month later. So that whole angle that they did with that issue, with them getting rid of Authority, I don't know why I keep saying team, but getting rid of Authority, it was pointless because they did all that just to bring them back a month later. So it was like all that was just pointless. It was just pointless because they brought them right back. So it was like, what was the point of even doing this thing, even setting this up for Survivor Series if you were just going to bring them right back? We wanted for this Authority stuff to be done completely. But no, they just decided, oh, we're going to have this one match at Survivor Series and, have Team Cena beat Team Authority, and then we're going to bring them right back. Like, no, that was just really dumb. So for that moment for Dolph Ziggler, while it may have been a big moment at that time that it happened, it really didn't benefit him at all because, look, right after that, they brought them right back. So it was like, what was the point of doing that, WWE? I don't know. But, like I said, it's really time that Dolph Ziggler has a bit different attitude. It's really time that he starts to change. Dolph Ziggler, like I said before, he's a much better working as a heel than he is as a babyface. There are some guys that can go either way, but he's obviously proved, especially when I was deeply listening to this promo between Dean Ambrose and Dolph Ziggler, especially looking at that, he definitely needs a heel turn. And how many times have we seen them put Dolph Ziggler in the title picture and he loses each and every time? And how much does that have to really be bugging Dolph Ziggler deep inside? It's really got to be bugging him in the head. So Dolph Ziggler, in his mind, he should be thinking, oh, this is the time, this right here is my time to really show off. This is my time to, change my attitude. It would be much more fitting because this is the perfect time to do it now. To turn Dolph Ziggler heel. It's the perfect time to do it. Because, like I said, Dolph Ziggler has been faced way too long, and it has got him absolutely nowhere. The only time he was even champion was the time he was IC type champion, and that whole time he was champion, he kept trading it back and forth, and it just really, It was just really weird that whole time period. And then we've seen what they've done with him since then. We've seen what they've done with him. First, one of the first big rivalries that he was in last year, one of the first big rivalries they had him in was with Sheamus. And we saw how that went. He won at Extreme Rules, but then he lost at Payback. Then another big rivalry. Then after that, that's when he rivaled with Rusev. And like I said, this whole angle was completely pointless. And when they found out that Rusev was engaged to Lana in real life, they had stopped it. So it was like, you know, that whole thing had made no sense to start to begin with. So, and then after that, I mean, it's like they have not really been utilizing Dolph Ziggler in the proper manner at all since his babyface turn. It's just ridiculous. And then how many times did we see him battle with Baron Corbin throughout this year? It almost felt like they were battling for 5 months. You know, it was one thing at first when he attacked them the night after WrestleMania, and it was like they just wanted to keep going with that. I don't get what they were trying to get out of that, because at first it was one thing, but then the fact that the guy was new and then they had Dolph Ziggler win, then they tried to continue it and keep it going, and it seemed like they were just facing each other almost every time on Raw. It was just getting ridiculous. It's like, it's got to be a time where you want to refresh and start something new, and this is the time now to reboost Dolph Ziggler's character, to reboost him, to do all of that, because this babyface turn, this babyface. Hey, what's up, guys? It's pretty obvious what happened in the last video, so I'm not even gonna go and explain it. It's pretty obvious that my camera cut off. But like I said, there are some wrestlers that are better at being a heel than they are as a babyface. Then there are some wrestlers who can work better as a babyface than being a heel. And then there are some wrestlers who can betray either way, a babyface or a heel. And Dolph Ziggler would be under the category of betraying as a heel. And one of the reasons why I also say that Dolph Ziggler is better at being a heel than a babyface is because it really suits his character. It actually really suits his personality. If you look at him and you look at you know, what he refers to himself as, the show off. That's just the perfect example right there. And for him, being a heel really suits his personality too. He gets to show more aggression. He gets to be more out there. And like I said, you know, so it's really time for Dolph Ziggler to make a change. It's really time for them to change the character of Dolph Ziggler. It's really time for them to have Dolph Ziggler show that aggression and show that all that time that he's been pushed and the time that he's been laid back and put into all these weird storylines and crappy storylines, that all of that should really be hurting him inside, and that, you know, it should cause him to have some tension. It should really cause them to do some heel tactics. Even if it's not a heel turn right away, but just some heel tactics. And then right, you know, out of the blue, he just turns heel. It's just one of those things. And like I said before, now I'm not going to go and say that Dolph Ziggler hasn't had good matches, great matches since he's been a babyface. You know, during the time he was IC champion, as I said before, him and The Miz were trading back and forth, but they had some pretty good matches during the time they was facing each other. And also, he had a great match on SmackDown where he defended his IC title against Tyson Kidd and Cesaro. Of course, it's kind of hard to say that with Tyson Kidd, knowing that now his career is pretty much over. But Dolph Ziggler, and also, of course, he was also involved in the match of the year of 2014 when Team Authority went against Team Cena. He was sole survivor of the match. And, you know, he had a pretty good match last year, even though he lost when he faced Sheamus at Payback. But, you know, they really have not been utilizing him, like I said before, in the right direction. They have not been utilizing him correctly for a very long time, and it's just really sad at this point. And at this point, he just really needs a heel turn. It fits his character more. It fits his personality more. He works better as a heel. And if you think about it, he's even had better storylines as a heel than he has had as a babyface. If you think about it, he had a good thing going. He faced the likes of Edge in 2011. He had a thing going on with Edge. You know, he was United States champion that same year. You know, he would go on to beat Kofi Kingston Capital Punishment, as I said before. Sole survivor at Survivor Series that year when he super kicked Randy Orton out of nowhere. He participated with Team Laurinaitis when they went against Team Teddy at WrestleMania 28. You know, he's had some really memorable moments during the time of his heel run in the WWE. Now, of course, we don't want to remember, and I'm pretty sure Dolph Ziggler wouldn't want to remember this himself, and if they ever make a video, or if they already have things that WWE wants you to forget about Dolph Ziggler, it's the fact that when he started off, he was in the Spirit Squad. Of course, no one wants to really remember and think that he was actually a part of the Spirit Squad, but he once was. And even then, they were portrayed as heels. But when he got on his own and stepped out on his own, he really proved that he can work as a heel. And he's worked with some of the best during the time that he was a heel. And like I said before, he's had a lot more better storylines as a heel than he has as a babyface. I mean, it seems like lately, like I said, especially with the last thing they had going with him, with Baron Corbin, it just seemed like that was going on forever. It just seemed like that would never, and it just seemed like it kept going and kept going and kept going, and we were just getting tired of it. And it's like, you know, it was really getting annoying, and finally they ended it. Finally they got rid of that. And, you know, so this is really Dolph Ziggler's time to show that anger, to show that frustration, to show, you know, all the mishaps and all the stuff that they've been doing to him as of late. It's really the time now for him to show it. It's really the time. This is the perfect time to turn him heel. And the last time he faced Dean Ambrose on a pay-per-view was actually way back at Night of Champions of 2013. And at that time, Dean Ambrose was United States champion. So it's actually pretty interesting that he's facing Dean Ambrose. It's actually pretty interesting that both times that he's facing Dean Ambrose is the one that's the champion. And the last time he faced him, of course, he lost. And that was for the United States title way back in Night of Champions 2013. So it's like, you know, I can name so many good guys that he's rivaled with during the time he was a heel. He rivaled with guys like Chris Jericho. He rivaled with CM Punk. They faced each other at the Royal Rumble of 2012. He didn't win that match, but he still, like he says, stole the show. He had a great performance in that match. You know, he had a lot more bigger runs during the time that he was a heel than he has had as a babyface. A lot of more bigger runs with guys like CM Punk, guys like Chris Jericho. You know, guys like that. Even Kofi Kingston, he was rivaling with him back in 2010 and a little moving into 2011, and they were battling back and forth the IC title. But I mean, he really, really had a lot more bigger moments then than he has had as of late. And it's just crazy. It's crazy how, you know, Dolph Ziggler, the way how they have him is like his character is not really going to what he actually means. He's not going to what he presents, you know. And it's like everybody needs a change. Everybody needs a tune-up sometime in their career. You know, some wrestlers eventually need a tune-up sometime in their career. And I think that, you know, this right here, I mean, like, this right here would basically be the the opportunity for them to turn Dolph Ziggler heel. If anything, turn him heel now. It's not like he's been booed or anything. It's not like the crowd is booing him. But, like I said before, some wrestlers, one of the reasons, especially this one, of why they can portray it as a heel more than they could as a babyface is because that fits not only their persona, not only their character, but their personality as a whole. And he's in that, that fits Dolph Ziggler's personality and his character and what he actually represents. That's one of the reasons why The Miz can hold better as a heel than a babyface. I mean, let's look at that. When they actually did the turn The Miz into a babyface, it didn't last but like 3 months, and then he turned right back heel because his personality, his persona works better of him being a heel than it does as a babyface. It's just like that for some guys. Now, you got some guys that's going to be fan favorites either way. You got some guys who can work either way as a heel or face, like RVD. When RVD first burst on the scene in 2001, he was actually considered a heel at the time, but the crowd still liked him. And not long after that, he became a babyface. So, it just depends on the guy. And for Dolph Ziggler, like I said, not to say that he hasn't had great matches since his babyface run, but it's just like there's a time that things need to change, and that time needs to happen now. And like I said before, we're going into SummerSlam. You got two babyfaces, Dean Ambrose, the WWE champion, going against Dolph Ziggler, who is the challenger, and they're both considered babyfaces. And something's got to give here. Something's really got to give, because you got to be wondering in Dolph Ziggler's mind about how much more can he take being laid back? How much more can he take not being pushed? This is the opportunity for Dolph Ziggler to really show his aggression, frustration over these things. This is the chance for Dolph Ziggler to do this right here. And it'll be perfect for them to have him, because the whole concept of two babyfaces facing each other, it shouldn't be that way. This is the perfect time for Dolph Ziggler to go back to what he once was. Because like I said, those names that I mentioned, you may not have to agree with me on that, but he's had some pretty good rivalries with those guys that I mentioned during his heel turn. During the time that he was a heel, not his heel turn, but during the time he was a heel. And ever since he's been a babyface, after he won the world title and everything, they just put him down the drain. He had the IC title, but they've just put him down the drain. And it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. But, like I said before, going into SummerSlam and everything, they really need to start having Dolph Ziggler show some heel tactics, even if they don't want him to turn heel right away, because everybody needs a fresh start at some point, and Dolph Ziggler has been a babyface for about 3 years now. I mean, look what they did with Sheamus. Sheamus, people have been saying for a while to turn him heel, and they turned him heel last year. Now he's not as successful as of currently, but he did gain some success during his time as a heel when he turned right back heel. That's what they need to do with Dolph Ziggler. They need to regroup him. They need to put him back in the hunt to what he was. So, that's all I really have to say about that. About Dolph Ziggler. Dolph Ziggler needs a heel turn, most definitely. You don't have to agree with me on that, but that's just what I personally think. And I'm going to end it off right here. So, signing off, here's Raymaster Flex. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And stay tuned for more videos, because, guys, there are going to be more videos to come, just like this one. More wrestling videos, just more videos general to come. And I will talk to you guys another day. Peace.